I'm Rod Serling. You're listening to The Zero Hour.
Suspense. I'm the Whistler.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Who is it?
The Fat Man.
Presents The Man Called X.
The Mysterious Traveler.
Another journey into the realm of the strange and terrifying. I hope you will enjoy the trip, that it will thrill you a little and chill you a little. So settle back, get a good grip on your nerves. Where are we going? You'll find out when we get there.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Drama and Theater, brought to you by Duane Old Time Radio. Drama and Theater features some of the best programs from the golden age of radio, including Escape, The Fat Man, Suspense, The Whistler, Zero Hour, Yours Truly Johnny Dollar, and many, many more. Before we start today's drama, if you enjoy what I'm doing, let me ask you to subscribe to my channel. Subscribing is 100% free, and you will receive notifications on new posts. Lastly, if you have a moment, write a short 1 or 2 sentence review or give a rating on your preferred podcast service. A positive review or rating would help me out a lot. And now, on to the drama. And thank you for your support, as always. As normal, we will end the month of mystery and suspense with the series The Zero Hour, hosted by Rod Serling. This is episode 3 and 4 of the drama titled 4th of Forever.
I'm Rod Serling. You're listening to The Zero Hour. Rest your eyes. Open your mind. Exercise your imagination. This week, Bill S. Ballinger's study of a deadly obsession. 4th of Forever. Starring John Dehner. And Susan Oliver. In Elliot Lewis's production of The Zero Hour.
The Mutual Broadcasting System presents The Zero Hour. Sponsored in part by
Ford Motor Company, Wrigley Gum and Sinoff. This is The Zero Hour on Mutual Radio.
It has been said that luck is a lady, either good or bad, but never in between. James Marius has spent a lifetime leaning on lady luck. He's been a gambler of magnitude, never one to bother with a penny ante game. Then he met Lou Jackson, his biggest venture to date. It was all or nothing. And a man on a losing streak is liable to shoot the works on a long shot. Such was the case with James Marius. A 3,000-mile coast-to-coast flight, a time and place, and the word of a woman he'd never seen. Lady Luck followed him that night to a New York hotel. He had lots of luck, all of it bad. And for his trouble, James Marius incurred a debt the law requires he pay for with the rest of his life. 4th of Forever resumes after this word.
Leukemia is a disease of the blood-forming organs. It takes the lives of more children than any other disease known to man. It afflicts even more adults than children. At present, there is no cure. However, a great deal of progress has been made in the treatment of leukemia, and many doctors believe that if we can find a cure through research, it could well open the door to the cure for cancer. I'm Shirley Jones, national chairman of a program to raise funds for leukemia research through radio broadcasting. If we can find a cure to this dread disease, we can stop the deaths of 15,000 victims each year and help in the search for the cure to cancer. Today, radio stations across the country are fighting leukemia. Please help. Make your check payable to LSA for Leukemia Society of America and send it to LSA Hollywood 28, California. That's LSA Hollywood 28, California.
I awoke with a start from the old familiar nightmare. But this time, Lou was with me in the battered DC-3. We were trying to find a place to land, but couldn't. Gas was running out. And so was time. That's what woke me up. I looked at my watch. It was 4 a.m. I would make it 1 in Los Angeles. Dangerous as it was, I had to phone Lou from the hotel. Warned her that Warren was shot. I placed the call. Why didn't she answer? She should have been there, but she wasn't. What had happened? Had the police already taken her? My fear was more terrible than any I'd ever known. Not for me, but for Lou. How could the cops have connected her with me so quickly? They hadn't taken me yet. What was happening? I couldn't go back to sleep. The blazing in my arm kept me up. I knew I had to have it taken care of, the bullet removed. I needed a drink, but instead I emptied the bottle down the drain. I could no longer afford the luxury of getting drunk. I was facing a 20-year jolt for attempted robbery and the accidental shooting of Warren. I destroyed my return plane ticket. All out-of-town flights would be screened thoroughly. Of Lou's $1,000, I had about 500 left, enough to get me back some way. I waited until about 8 before leaving the hotel. I draped my topcoat over my right arm to conceal the bloodstains on the sleeve. Walking to University Place, I bought a paper and went into a small cafe. It was practically empty. I sat in a booth near the back and ordered coffee and opened the paper. The story was on page 3. It wasn't a big one, but the headline caught my eye and shook me through to my feet. Multi-millionaire murdered in hotel room. The article said Warren's body was discovered after an anonymous phone call to the police. Bloodstained prints had been found on his door. The lab was checking these for identification. My belly dropped. Warren was dead. I hadn't meant to shoot him. I hadn't aimed. I didn't remember pulling the trigger. All I remembered was his shot, and my arm jerked. And then the second shot, and the reflection in the hall mirror. In the back of the restaurant was a public phone booth. I tried to call Lou again. Lou. You know who this is. Is it all right to talk? I couldn't understand it. Why would she take so long to answer and then not say a word? Was it possible the cops were in her apartment and trying to trace the call already? I left the cafe in a hurry. I took a cab to the Bowery. My jacket was badly bloodstained, so I bought another one in a used clothes store for $5, and then I walked up the street. I knew I had to get out of New York, but I had to do something about my arm first, get that bullet out before the infection took over. I stopped in front of a fly-specked window and tried to light a cigarette.
Give you a beauty, mister.
Huh? Oh. Bojo Jack's Tattoo Parlor.
Take your pick. Anything you want. Butterflies, mermaids, hearts and doves, battleships, the works, man. $25.
Bojo Jack had an old leathery face split into a wide smile. One front tooth was missing. The other was rotten with a gold star right in the center. His features were squashed together as if he supported a heavy weight on his head. But his hands were what caught my attention. They were sensitive and delicate.
I'll make you a deal. Cut it to 15.
Let's talk inside. The tattoo shop was long and narrow and partitioned by a heavy green curtain. I assumed Jack lived behind it. In front was a white kitchen table, a couple of metal stools, and on a shelf by the table were his instruments and inks. Hanging above the table from a cord was a large light bulb inside a metal reflector.
I've been messing around this business 40 years, mister. You ain't gonna get hurt none. Don't hurt at all.
How would you like to make $50?
Tattooing?
No.
I thought not. I'll do a lot of things for $50, but not everything. What you got in mind?
If you turn down my proposition, will you keep quiet about it?
Well, I don't ever do much talking unless someone's whipping me real good. That happens, maybe I'll talk.
Won't happen. I got a slug in my arm. Can you take it out?
The man after you?
No, not yet. You've plenty of time.
Ain't got much of anything to work with. It figures to hurt real bad.
It hurts now.
Wait, let me take a look. Don't want nobody watching me. Now we need a little light. That's better. That arm, well, it ain't so awful bad. Don't look like the bone's broken. I guess if you can stand it, I can.
I'll have to.
Get out of that shirt and wrap this sheet around you while I get some hot water and things. Got to use a lot of hot water. Real clean, like a doctor.
Jack came back with the water, a straight-edged razor, a pair of tweezers, and a metal ice pick, and a bottle of gin. He started to wrap a cord tightly around my arm.
You hold this ice on that proud flesh, sort of deaden it down a little bit. Now, I can do it two ways. Sort of slow-like, which will hurt a long time, or right quick.
Get it over with.
That's the way I like it myself. Got into a bit of shooting a couple of times, too. Hate to waste this good gin washing my hands. Just like old Dr. Kildare. Nothing better than gin to keep the bugs out, though. Well, here she goes.
Looking for a car that's easy on gas, easy to buy, and yet has the luxury you want in a car?
Look what we've done to our Mustang. Look what we've done to that car. Well, we changed the size, we changed the style, and you're gonna like it fine. So, look what we've done to that car.
Mustang 2. It's the all-new economical car from Ford. The right car at the right time. Built even smaller than the original Mustang. It has an easy-on-the-gas 4-cylinder engine, rack and pinion steering, tachometer, 4-speed transmission, plus a beautifully appointed interior. All standard. Luxury plus economy. That's Mustang 2.
When you take a ride, you're gonna know that Mustang's one of a kind. So, look what we've done to that car.
Mustang 2, $28.95 excluding dealer prep, destination charges, title, and taxes. See your local Ford dealer.
I clung to the metal stool and bent a rung on it. Then it was over. Jack poured gin in the wound and bandaged it up, neat, professional, and handed me the slug for a souvenir. Now I could concentrate on getting home. I had to see Lou, regardless of the danger. Somehow I had to get back to L.A. I'd find her, and we'd leave together. Beyond that, I had no plans. I took a bus from New York to Boston. I tried to call her from the depot.
sorry. You have reached a disconnected number. Please check your number and dial again or ask your operator for assistance. This is a recording.
From Boston, I took a train to Chicago and took a taxi to the airport. It was risky, but I flew from Chicago to San Francisco. I made it without a hitch. And from San Francisco to Los Angeles by bus. In the L.A. bus station, I bought a newspaper. It said that the police in both New York and Los Angeles were searching for James Marius in connection with Warren's murder. Obviously, I'd been identified through my prints. But to my great relief, there was no mention of Lou Jackson. She hadn't been connected. Lou was safe. I decided to try Lou's apartment. No one there had seen me before, so I wouldn't be recognized. Unless the cops were waiting for me there. I found her name had been removed from the mailbox, so I tried the manager.
Yes?
Say, I'm looking for a friend of mine who used to live here, Miss Lucille Jackson.
She moved last Thursday.
Thursday? The 24th?
I don't know what day. Yeah, the 24th. Hey, look, I got a show I'm watching here. I got no time.
Has Miss Jackson's apartment been rented yet?
You ask a lot of questions.
Well, I'm looking for a place to rent. Is it vacant?
Oh, why don't you say so? Come on, I'll show it to you. It's in perfect condition. You'll love it. Your friend was real clean. I didn't even have to paint. Go ahead. Take a look around.
Yeah. Lou, Miss Jackson used to have a painting of mine. A big one, a nude woman.
I don't know nothing about no nude painting. I leave my tenants be.
How long did she live here?
4, 5 months, maybe.
Did she leave a forwarding address?
No. Hey, do you want the place or don't you?
Well, I'll get back to you. Thanks. Common sense warned me not to go to my old apartment. The cops would have my place staked out. It was an awful risk. But I knew I'd try because of the faint possibility she might have left me some clue. So at 3:30 in the morning, the darkest hour of the night, I crept into the parking lot behind the apartment building. As I expected, my car was gone, impounded by the police. I didn't see anyone around the patio or pool. My apartment was dark. I listened outside a window. Nothing. Finally... I went inside. Suddenly, I froze. Against the faint light of the window, I saw the silhouette of head and shoulders rising from the couch. A cop.
Who's there?
Halt! I'll shoot! It's no use, Marius! We know who you are!
I ran up a hill behind the Hollywood Bowl. A short, winding street. I saw a parked car in an open garage. It was concealed in the shadows. I climbed in. I stretched out in the back seat, cursing myself. Now the cops knew I was back in Los Angeles. I just had one lead left. Clara in Warren's office.
Theodore Warren, Realty.
I'd like to speak to Clara. Mr. Warren's secretary.
Well, Mr. Warren passed away, you know.
So I heard. But may I speak to Clara, please?
Clara who?
How could that be? Clara must have lied about everything, even about being Warren's secretary. Then I remembered the painting. Lou had taken it with her when she moved so quickly. If she needed money as badly as I, she might try to sell it. Now, who was the painter? Well, what was his name? Gazzetti. I looked up an art dealer, went to his gallery, and he said...
Gazzetti? No, we don't have anything he's done.
Well, I saw a seated, draped figure of a nude he did. I'd like to buy it. If it were for sale, what would it cost?
Some Gazzettis brought $5,000 a few years back. Might be higher now.
That much? Why?
You're paying for snob appeal.
Apparently, Lou hadn't tried to sell the painting. But it puzzled me. How had she gotten hold of a $5,000 painting? I was of the belief that she had only a limited income. Getting around on foot had become too hazardous. I had to have a car. I walked to a big supermarket. Hundreds of parked cars, big, small, cheap, expensive, take your pick. I wasn't choosy. I found a small, inconspicuous sedan with its keys tucked in the sun visor above the wheel. I got in and drove off. I returned to my boarding house and switched plates with another car parked on the street. I had transportation now, but not much else. I went up to my room and had a drink. And once again in my memory, I saw Lou, her silver gilt hair aglow in the sparkle of my imagination. The music of her voice, the touch of her fingers, the scent of her body were opiates that deadened the pain of my failure, the loneliness. I sat down in the soft chair and thought back to how it was. I could see in my mind the Gazette on the wall, and there had been an envelope. When I sat down, there was a name on that envelope. Oh, hell, what was it? Rothman. Rothman Associates had an office in a shabby building on Western Avenue, just the name on the door, nothing else. Rothman himself was a wiry man with blunt features and thinning hair parted in the center. He stared at me through deep-set eyes, didn't offer to shake hands.
Sit down.
Say, I'd like to get in touch with Miss Lou Jackson. I think you know her.
I think you're wrong.
Yeah, well, I've been away, Mr. Rothman. In the meantime, she's moved. No forwarding address.
Could be she didn't want you to find her.
Now, that isn't the reason. We're good friends.
What's your name?
Horton. Clarence Horton.
You're lying.
No, you're lying, Mr. Rothman. She gave me your name.
We don't give out information regarding clients.
You're a private investigator.
Now, that's good thinking.
Well, I'm not asking for information, Mr. Rothman, just an address.
Don't have it. Haven't heard from her in maybe, about 6 months.
Well, did you have her address before then?
Mister, my business is selling information, not giving it away. $50 a day. You want us to find her?
All right, here's 50 for one day's work. Just give me your old address.
See what I can do. Wait a minute. Here's her folder. I see the Jackson woman paid us in cash. She didn't give an address.
Well, she must have had some way for you to get in touch with her.
Yeah. Oh, here's a telephone number we were checking out. Who did you say you were?
Rothman shoved back his chair. I don't know what alarmed him, but he came at me. I picked up a metal ashtray off the desk and slipped it. He fell across the desktop. I grabbed at the white card he had in his hand. The card tore in two. I still had part of it as I ran from the office. I reached the street and slowed to a fast walk so as not to attract attention. Around the corner where I'd parked the stolen car, I paused and looked at the piece of card. There was a name. Lucille Jackson. A telephone number in the San Fernando Valley, and the notation, paid $500. I tore up the card, chewed the pieces to pulp, and spit them out. Then I got in the car.
Hold it.
Yes, officer?
Outside. Up against the car. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, what's this all about?
Where'd you get this car?
Picked up and identified because of that lousy stolen car. One of the new plates had fallen off while I was driving. All they had to do was find the mate, and they did. They threw me in a cell with a little guy, about 40, with a wise, secretive, perpetual smile. He told me his name was Leroy Grimes. I figured he might be a plant, stoolie, so I didn't say much.
First time? My third. What's the rap? Did they question you yet? You don't talk much, do you?
No, not much. I wasn't interrogated right away. Instead, I was taken from my cell and led to another room. It was small, completely bare, no furnishings of any kind, no fixtures, but a light sunk into the ceiling. I sat on the floor, my back propped against a wall, and waited. And waited. I don't know how long, but it seemed forever.
Tomorrow at this time, rest your eyes and listen here to this week's renewing study in suspense, Fourth of Forever. I'm Rod Serling, and this is the 0 Hour.
Today's episode brought to you in part by Ford Motor Company, Wrigley Gum, and Sign Off. This is the 0 Hour on Mutual Radio.
You have been listening to The 0 Hour, a presentation of the Mutual Broadcasting System in association with Hollywood Radio Theater. Heard every weekday at this time. Rod Serling is your host. 0 Hour is produced and directed by Elliott Lewis. The Hollywood Radio Theater theme was played by Ferranti and Teicher and is now available on United Artists Records and Tapes. Hugh Douglas speaking. Tune in tomorrow. And once again,
rest your eyes and listen here
to the 0 Hour.
This is the Mutual Radio Network.
I'm Rod Serling. You're listening to the 0 Hour. Rest your eyes. Open your mind. Exercise your imagination. This week, Bill S. Ballinger's study of a deadly obsession. Fourth of Forever. Starring John Dehner. And Susan Oliver. In Elliott Lewis's production of The 0 Hour.
The Mutual Broadcasting System presents The 0 Hour. Sponsored in part by
Wrigley Gum, Sign Off, and Ford Motor Company. This is the 0 Hour on Mutual Radio.
James Marius, a man on the run, running both to and from the law that says he must answer for a dead man, to find Lou Jackson, a mystery woman, to be sure, one whose trail leads to only dead ends, an empty apartment, a telltale painting, a telephone number, and a dying hope for tomorrow. James Marius, a man whose tomorrows are in danger of becoming condensed into one long stretch of time. He's a man driven by a relentless obsession to protect and recover a lost dream. A dream capable of lifting him up and away from all that is real. A murdered man, prison for life, and eternal solitude. For James Marius, the running has only just begun. First to win, second to place, third to show.
Measuring time. I just remember waking suddenly and feeling the cold concrete under my back. I opened my eyes and saw only a bright naked light blazing down at me from the ceiling. And I sensed a presence in the room. Suddenly a face dipped into my line of sight. I couldn't make out the features, only teeth.
Sleep well, Marius?
What does a killer dream about?
Easy, Harry. We could be here a while.
Gotta be smart and talks fast. Then we can all go home except Marius here. He's not going anywhere. Not for a long, long...
Lay off him, Harry. Come on, sit down. You too, Marius. Grab a seat. Now, maybe we can get down to business. We'd just like a few answers.
You don't have to answer my questions. You got a right to an attorney. You understand?
Yes.
The New York cops have a few questions for you, Jimmy boy. You can give us a few answers and rack up a few points for yourself, or take what's coming to you.
Why not let the New York cops ask me?
Because I'm asking.
Cool off, Harry.
We got a wise guy here, Ed. Very funny fellow. Well, let's just see who laughs last.
Okay, that's enough. Marius, you're being extradited to New York. Now, they'll ask you these questions there, too. You're in pretty deep trouble as it is. You might think about cooperating. We're waiving the stolen car charge, you know.
But you know why you're here. Where'd you dump the gun?
What gun?
What gun? That 32 you shot Warren on the back of the head with your punk. That gun.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Huh? Well, maybe I can help you remember.
Okay, Harry, that's enough. Now, let's not blow it.
Just give me 5 minutes with him, Ed. Wait outside if you can't watch.
Forget it, Harry. I only have 2 questions for him. Will you tell us what happened to the gun? Do you want to confess to the murder of Theodore Warren? Okay. Take him back to his cell.
I had to confide in someone. I took a chance on Leroy Grimes and told him I was up on a murder charge, but I thought I might be innocent. I didn't say why. Warren had been killed with a 32. It was a 38 I'd dropped in his room. There was no mention of a 38. And they said Warren was shot in the back of the head. It didn't make sense. The next day I had a visitor. The jailer took me to a conference room. A sheet of heavy plate glass partitioned the table where I sat. And across from me, through the glass, sat a tall, middle-aged man. His curling dark hair was laced with gray. He was well-dressed. I'd never seen him before. The jailer stepped outside and stationed himself just out of earshot. I just sat and waited until...
Mr. Marius, I'm Ethan Lloyd. I've been retained as your attorney. If you agree.
I don't have any money.
Well, my fee has already been paid.
Who paid you?
I don't know. Perhaps you do. This morning, a messenger delivered this letter to my office. It's typed and unsigned. Dear Mr. Lloyd, herewith is a cashier's check for $3,500 to retain your services in behalf of James Marius, who is now held in Los Angeles County Jail. He's charged with the murder of Theodore Warren in New York City. I'm a friend of Mr. Marius and have always admired a gambling man. Please show him this letter, as it may help him feel more at ease in accepting your services. Does this mean anything to you?
I think so. I accept your offer to defend me.
Well, I'll do what I can. You must understand, however, that I won't actually represent you at your trial in New York.
Why not?
Well, I'm not a member of the New York State Bar. Your defense can be handled more ably by a qualified attorney familiar with the New York State Code. I know of several excellent men there, and I'll arrange for one of them to represent you. But we might as well start thinking about your defense now. Tell me what happened.
I told Lloyd what happened, or just about all of it. I didn't mention Lou by name or even indirectly. I said nothing of the plans and the rest of it. When I'd finished, Lloyd said...
There's some big holes in your story, Mr. Marius. You're not telling me everything.
I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah, so far as it goes. But you're not telling me all the facts. From your story, how could Warren have been shot in the back of the head? He was facing you.
I don't know. And how come the cops are looking for a 32? Didn't they find a 38? It was still in the room when I ran out.
How much have you told the police?
Nothing.
Now, that's good. Anything you have to say only to me. Oh, I'm going to leave a copy of today's paper with the jailer. He'll give it to you. I'll be in touch with you every day.
Back in my cell, I read the story about my arrest. There was also a short interview with Warren's widow. She had never heard of me, or couldn't identify me from a photograph. And that was about all, except it was speculated that Warren left an estate of an estimated $10 million. Grimes, my cellmate, was impressed that I had Ethan Lloyd for an attorney. He told me Lloyd was the best and the most expensive. He said I was sure to get off with 20 years and be eligible for parole in 7. My one consolation was that Lou hadn't abandoned me. She must have sold the painting to raise legal funds. 2,555 nights. 7 years of not seeing Lou. The prospect was intolerable. The pain unbearable. If that was the best, it wasn't good enough. There had to be another way. There just had to be.
Wrigley Spearmint gum, gum, gum. Wrigley Spearmint carry a big fresh flavor. Wherever you go, whatever you do, it's the finest pack of flavor. Wherever you go, whatever you do.
Flavor this big shouldn't be left behind. So wherever you go, carry a pack of Wrigley Spearmint gum.
Wrigley Spearmint. It's the finest spearmint flavor. The great Wrigley taste, delicious to chew. Wrigley Spearmint gum. Carry it with you. Wrigley Spearmint gum.
Sinus flares up. Sometimes your whole face aches. When you need occasional help, get Sign-Off tablets, the sinus medicine. Sign-Off works with a full dose of pure aspirin for sinus headache, plus a sinus drainer for congestion. That's how Sign-Off helps sinus pain while you drain. Help sinus pain while you drain. Take Sign-Off only as directed. Sineoff. The sinus medicine in the bright red box.
Men, when closely confined with each other, either become good friends or dire enemies. In the weeks I spent awaiting extradition to New York, I shared cigarettes, papers, magazines, extra food luxuries supplied by funds from Lloyd with Leroy Grimes. Grimes had spent most of his adulthood in crime, so he instructed me in the ways of jails, prisons, jailers, and wardens. I lost my suspicions of him, and we became good friends. Then one morning I was brought a new suit of clothes and informed that 2 New York detectives were waiting to take me back. While I changed, Grimes watched me glumly.
Look, just remember, don't let them grind you down.
If I'm not around, they won't be able to.
You going to try to bust out?
Yeah, I thought about it. Haven't you?
Every con does. Look, don't get sore if I say so, but I didn't think of you that way.
Why not?
Well, you just ain't the type.
I ain't the type to be here either. I don't mean that you are, Leroy.
Oh, but I am, Jim. I am.
Well, I'd have to have the chance and a little luck. Leroy, is my tie straight?
Yeah.
Well, what's that? Where did you get that?
Been keeping it in my mattress for the right occasion. Right sharp, ain't it?
Well, what is it, a knitting needle?
Well, you won't get in any sewing where you're headed, but it works pretty good on locks, though.
I don't know how to pick locks.
You know how to kill a man, don't you?
Yes, I guess I do.
Come here closer. See? Work it in the sleeve of your jacket, just above the cuff. Nobody'll find it. Oh, hey, forgot something. This overcoat button, made out of bone about the size of a quarter. Here, take it.
Yeah, well, what's this little hole drilled in it?
Put the big end of the needle in it. Fits good. With the button on the end, you can jab the needle way in real hard. In a temple or back of an eye. It's better than a knife. Well, like you say, if you get the chance and a little luck.
Thanks, Leroy. Here, keep the rest of this cart from smokes.
No, sir, Jim. You keep them. You're going to need them.
Well, I guess this is it.
Yeah, well, been right fine knowing you, Marius. I'll read about you in the papers up in Quentin.
Yeah, hope it's not in the obits. Goodbye, Leroy. And thanks.
Good luck.
I was turned over to the custody of the two New York detectives. One was a young guy, blond, blue-eyed, tall, name of Hodges. The other was Blackie Schwartz, stocky, tough, middle-aged, with 20 years on the force. Schwartz wore a revolver in plain view and walked behind Hodges and me. My right wrist was cuffed to Hodges' left. They drove me to LAX, Los Angeles International Airport, to await a flight back to New York. I knew if I were to escape, it would have to be before I got on the plane. Blackie had arranged with the airline for us to board before the other passengers. We had nearly an hour before flight time. Hey, Hodges, would you mind if we stopped at the washroom?
You can wait till we get on the plane.
Yeah, but they keep the washrooms locked while they're on the ground.
What do you think, Blackie?
It's okay. We got plenty of time.
I was thinking fast. I'd worked the needle from my sleeve during the ride in from jail to the airport. I had it in my left pocket with the button. The end of the needle was set in a small hole. I kept my left hand in my pocket, grasping it. And when we reached the washroom, it was a big room, all white tile. Luckily, we were alone. Blackie watched our every step. I was hoping Hodges embarrassed easily.
Hey, I'm not going in there with you.
Well, take the cuffs off.
I don't like this.
No, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm not that stupid.
Just leave the door open.
As soon as Hodges unlocked the cuffs, I grabbed him and pulled him inside. The door swung shut in Blackie's face. I had Hodges in a headlock with my right arm. My left hand held a long needle at the corner of his eye. One little jab, Hodges. One little jab, and this needle goes right into your brains. You want to be a hero?
Don't shoot, Blackie.
Drop the gun, Schwartz. I jabbed this needle a little way, and your partner's blind for life. All the way, it's all over.
If you wait here as long as you can, Marius, you can't hold him forever.
Maybe not, but I've got nothing to lose. Drop the gun on the floor and kick it in here.
Can you move, Hodges? Enough to...
You better do as I say, Blackie.
What? Hodges, you all right?
Give him the gun, Blackie, please.
That's playing it smart, Blackie. Now open the door. Real slow. That's it. Now, you and Hodges, just put your arms around this post while you try on these irons for size. I took the keys and left Schwartz and Hodges handcuffed to the post, gagged with shreds of Hodges' shirt. They wouldn't be following me for a while. I relieved Blackie of his expense money, and I left. Outside the washroom in the busy terminal, I easily lost myself in the crowd. I got in a cab and told the driver to take me to the San Fernando Valley, North Hollywood. I got out and started walking.
Mustang 2, undoubtedly the right car at the right time. Built smaller than the original Mustang with a thrifty four-cylinder engine that's easy on gas. Mustang 2 is light in weight, richly appointed, has rack and pinion steering, bucket seats, 4-speed transmission, and tachometer, all standard. When you take the ride, you're gonna know that Mustang's one of a kind. Mustang 2 sticker price is $28.95, excluding dealer prep destination charges, title, and taxes. Mustang 2, it's luxury plus economy at your local Ford dealer.
The 0 Hour continues after this.
Be prepared. Are you ready to get going? Be prepared. Are you ready to take the lead? 'Cause if you ain't, who'll take care of the futures of our sons? Well, let me ask you now, who's gonna tell them about the butcher man? Who's gonna show them how to clean the land? Who's gonna tell them why they shouldn't drop out? Who's gonna show them what it's all about? You know you can if you want to. You can if you want to right now. Well, let me lay it on you.
Well, let me tell them, you know, if you're 18 or older, you can help a lot of guys be prepared by being a leader in scouting. I mean it, fella, scouting today's a lot more than you think.
Be prepared. Are you ready to get going? Be prepared. Are you ready to take the lead? 'Cause if you ain't, who'll help teach your sons to be prepared?
By this time, I was sure that Schwartz and Hodges had the alarm out for me. Not only the LAPD, but the county sheriffs and the highway patrol would be alerted. I needed somewhere to hide out and quickly ducked down a side street. I had no destination, just kept walking. And then in my aimless path, I spotted a for sale sign planted in the brown, overgrown yard of a small frame house with a shake roof and plastered salt and pepper stucco. It was exactly like 1,000 others in the valley, only unmistakably vacant. I kept on walking, but the idea grew. Not far away, I came upon a supermarket. I bought a big bag of supplies with practically the last of the money I'd taken from Blackie. Canned foods, 6-pack of beer, can opener, and 2 heavy, full-sized beach towels. I had a phone call to make. The number I'd gotten off the cart at Rothman's just before I'd been picked up. There was a payphone at the gas station on the corner.
Hello?
Miss Lucille Jackson.
Hello?
Does Lucille Jackson live there?
No, not Jackson.
Who's this?
Camila de Maid.
Well, is anyone else at home?
Nobody see but me.
Well, maybe I have the wrong number. Well, whose home is this?
If you don't know how you call, I'll not tell you.
Another dead end. Still no way to reach Lou. I had one more call I could make and had another dime ready when 2 highway patrol units rolled into the parking lot. As casually as I could, I took my bag of groceries and backtracked the exact route I'd taken before to the vacant house I'd seen. Dusk was falling, and I could see no one who might see me, so I checked the doors and windows. It was locked up tight. What was a little breaking and entering after what I'd been through. I waited a few minutes to be sure no one had heard me and climbed in through the broken kitchen window. I sat on the cold floor well below window level and opened a can of beans. I ate them cold from the can with my fingers and washed them down with a warm beer. Exhausted, I wrapped myself in the 2 beach towels and started to drift off. I waited until noon the next day before leaving the house. At that hour, the neighborhood was empty and the supermarket crowded. I used the same payphone as before.
This is Miss Hendon, business office. May I help you?
Yes. I think there's an error in my bill. There's a charge of $7.70. It's for a long distance call to Denver. I don't know anyone there.
Oh, what is your number?
It's 761-4699.
Just a moment, please. I don't see it listed on your account.
For the 3rd of last month?
No.
Ah, that's odd. It's right here. Well, could you have sent this bill to the wrong address? What street number do you have listed for me?
1355 Palomar Drive, North Hollywood.
Yeah, that's correct.
Send us your remittance, less that charge, and I'll make a note of it.
Well, will do. Thank you. Now I had the address and one thread of hope. Whoever did live there could offer a clue to Lou's whereabouts. I left the supermarket and walked to a nearby movie theater. I sat through the feature twice, waiting for the night to come. Behind the theater was a parking lot with wooden racks with 7 bicycles. I smashed a cheap padlock on one and rode off. I figured the North Hollywood address to be about 3 miles away. I couldn't risk a taxi. I pedaled along, keeping away from the main, well-lighted, heavily traveled streets. At an intersection, a black and white patrol car pulled up alongside me. The cop driving gave me a curious look.
Saving gas?
My wife says I'm getting fat.
Well, you're going to be stiff tomorrow.
I already am.
Hey, you should get a reflector so you don't get run down.
I watched him pull away and turn the corner. Luckily, Palomar Drive was nearby. I left the bike behind some camellia bushes. The house was a small Mediterranean-style villa set back in a lawn dominated by green trees. I walked up the shrub-lined drive, which curved in a sweep to the door. From the drawn shades, I saw the soft illumination of lights. At the door, I adjusted my jacket and then rang the bell. Lou.
You are listening to Mutual's presentation of The Zero Hour.
Tomorrow at this time, rest your eyes and listen here to this week's continuing study in suspense, Fourth of Forever. I'm Rod Serling, and this is The Zero Hour.
Today's episode brought to you in part by Wrigley Gum, Sign-Off, and Ford Motor Company. This is The Zero Hour on Mutual Radio.
You have been listening to The Zero Hour, a presentation of the Mutual Broadcasting System in association with Hollywood Radio Theater. Heard every weekday at this time. Rod Serling is your host. Zero Hour is produced and directed by Elliot Lewis. The Hollywood Radio Theater theme was played by Ferranti and Teicher and is now available on United Artists Records and Tapes. Hugh Douglas speaking. Tune in tomorrow, and once again,
rest your eyes and listen here
to The Zero Hour.
This is the Mutual Radio Network.
Thank you for listening to and showing your support for my podcast. If you would like to receive notifications of when new episodes are posted, please subscribe to my channel. Subscriptions are 100% free, and they really help me get an idea of how I'm doing. You can also go to my website where you can listen to all of my podcasts for free, and you can also download the episodes for free. The website is otr.duane.media. There is also donation information on there if you want to show your support or become a patron. You can email me at info@otr.duane.media. I'm also on Instagram at duane.otr. Well, hope you enjoyed, and until next time, stay safe, wish you well, and as always, peace.